Look at them! Super Saiyan even when they sleep! This must be part of Goku's secret training! I bet he can sense everything that's going on for miles! Which means if I chunk this rock at him, he'll just zap it into a million pieces without even opening his eyes. This is going to be so cool!
Oh, what'd you do that for?
I didn't mean...
Darn it, if that's your idea of a joke, then you've lost your mind!
Hey, so if you get a chance, hit that like button. It'll really help me out. So, the Dragon Ball series, hands down, is one of the greatest anime series of all time. When I say Dragon Ball series, I mean Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, and everything after. From the introduction of Ki Blast, the tournament arc, aerial fighting, and more, Dragon Ball has influenced and popularized the Shonen genre in countless ways. So before I continue with the video, I should probably clear up what I mean by Shonen. You think everyone would be on the same page about this, but there are differing perspectives. Now for me, for a series to be Shonen, it has to have three basic elements. The first is a space where physical conflict is taking place, and this can be anything from street fights, sports, to fighting robots on the moon. Second, probably most important, is a somewhat immature main character who, for whatever reason, exists or wants to exist and mature within that space where confrontation is taking place. And third, is a supporting cast of friends and antagonists that also exist within or around that space. Now for this video, I want to talk about how the Dragon Ball series kinda ruined the first one. Like I said, the space where physical conflict is taking place can be anything. It's the world these characters inhabit, and within that world there's a space where conflict is occurring. Now this can be at a macro level, like an interplanetary war, or something as small as a back alley street fight. When the conversation about this space comes up, the question of power scaling usually isn't too far behind. Now power scaling is a way to measure a character's power and growth relative to other characters in the series. This can be something as simple as the ninja classification system in Naruto, or how Hunter x Hunter gives a TED talk every time someone asks about Nen. Now one of the best examples of power scaling done right is Slam Dunk. Now if you don't know about Slam Dunk, really quick, the story is about a guy who looks like Kuwabara, who joins his high school basketball team in order to simp for a girl who's in love with someone else. And while we're shown that he has the raw physical potential to be a great player, he isn't given immediate access to any level of skill. Instead, we have to watch as he slowly builds his game from the ground up. And even with endless hours of practice, he isn't able to instantly use what he's practiced in games. Instead, he focuses on excelling in one specific area, rebounding. Now this isn't flashy, but it puts his raw physical ability to good use, making for some really exciting moments in the show. And when he finally does get the chance to display some of the more intricate skills that he's practiced, like dunking, shooting, and dribbling, it makes those instances that much more exciting and meaningful because we've seen his progression to get there. And that's what it's really about. Logical progression that leads to a meaningful growth in skill and power. So, how did the Dragon Ball series ruin this? There are two specific instances where this happened. The first being in the Dragon Ball series and the second in Dragon Ball Z. In Dragon Ball, with the introduction of King Piccolo, we're finally introduced to a character that Goku can't beat, even with all of his skill and creativity. So Goku journeys to hell, but they don't say it's hell, but it's hell, in search of the super sacred water, or I like how that sounds. Now you think this would be one of those situations where the water's fake and it's the journey that made him stronger, but nah, it's the water. The water made him stronger. Now this is relevant because for a series as influential as Dragon Ball, it's the first time Goku didn't have to train to get stronger. So we don't see growth and we don't see progression. While the rest of the series falls back into form, we can see the seeds of this sprout in Dragon Ball Z. Now the thing that ruined power scaling in Dragon Ball Z is the Super Saiyan transformation. Hold up. I get it. This is one of the most epic scenes in anime history. It still is, but it also spelled disaster for power scaling going forward. How, you might ask? This introduced the concept that Saiyans and Goku could get stronger relative to how much damage they take in fights. So Goku didn't necessarily have to train to get stronger. He could get a 2-piece and a soda and still end up stronger. Before this, except for the Super Sacred Water, Goku had to train. Losing to King Piccolo in Dragon Ball didn't make him stronger, the same way losing to Raditz in Dragon Ball Z did not make him stronger. Super Saiyans also introduced the concept that Saiyans could reach new heights, not specifically by training, but in direct correlation to their emotional state of being. Which is probably how we got 3 episodes of just screaming. I promise, Super Saiyan 3 Goku screamed for like 37 days before transforming. The reason this is relevant is the fights became about power-ups and reaching the next level of general power. See, up to this point, fights in the Dragon Ball series had mostly been about experience, creativity, skills, and mastery of those skills. Goku could reach a new level of strength by training, but when faced with tougher opponents, it was often his skill and creativity that got him the dubs. What made Dragon Ball interesting is that Goku would acquire new skills like the Kamehameha Wave and put those skills to creative use in order to win. Now you could argue that Super Saiyan is just another skill like the Kaioken and Kamehameha Wave, but there's a distinction. The Kamehameha Wave simply added another tool to Goku's arsenal. It didn't necessarily make him stronger. How Goku used it made him stronger, and its power grew as he did. And while the Kaioken did forcibly make Goku stronger, it came at the cost of his body breaking down. So when and how he used it became important. The introduction of transformations and how those transformations were obtained simply meant the characters could automatically get stronger than their opponents with little risk and skill necessary to use that power. Now we can see this effect in many of the shonen anime in the 90s and 2000s. Naruto starts out great, but once he learns mass shadow clones and Rasengan, they become a crutch that he leans on heavily at the expense of his creativity. That's not to say he stops being creative, but it's, yay, it's another shadow clone. What's he gonna do? He's gonna hit him with a Rasengan? Yeah, it's a Rasengan. It's a bigger Rasengan. You know, that's what it is. It gets to a point where they all but abandon the ninja classification system and focus on whose jutsu is bigger. Literally. Now this sucked because much of what made Naruto's fights interesting was that a low-level genin could still outclass a jonin if they were creative enough. Think of the first encounter with Zabuza or Naruto's fight with Neji. The show became about reaching new transformations instead of building skill and being creative. Now, One Piece often shows our heroes get stronger and gain new skills, but without showing any of the work, and I don't even want to talk about Bleach. Of course, it's not all shonen anime that have suffered from this. Shows like Hunter x Hunter and My Hero Academia do an amazing job of power scaling. They have a heavy focus on developing your own abilities to make yourself stronger versus, achieving a new, more powerful form via some cheap emotional trauma. That said, I get it. I really get it. Dragon Ball is a martial arts series. The fights are always going to take center stage, but with Dragon Ball Z there was a notable shift to where the fights were all that mattered. The journey to get stronger took a back seat. That's why I love the Dragon Ball Z series up until Namek. Until that point, much like the Dragon Ball series showed us that the characters didn't live in a vacuum where only fighting takes place, there was a heavy sense that these characters lived in a larger world. From Gohan traversing much of the wilderness that his father traveled in Dragon Ball to Goku getting distracted by side stories on Snake Way. Instances like this helped grow and expand the lore and world of Dragon Ball Z, and showed us that there are people who existed far and away from the fighting. This helped add a sense of weight and depth to the battles that Goku would face. Sure, Goku was fighting because he's a punch-drunk lunatic who loves to fight, but he was also fighting to protect all the people in the world that he had met and connected with. The Spirit Bomb wasn't just a mass of natural energy, it was the sum total, the entire weight of Goku's connections and experiences made in his journey through the world of Dragon Ball. That said, Dragon Ball Z is still an amazing series. The world is larger and the fights are more exciting, even if it does come at the expense of telling an adventure story and more intricate fight choreography that expresses how the characters have grown. Well, that's the video. Please remember to Dragon Fist that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in another one. Peace.